Welcome to Global View. Today I'm very excited because we have a cultural icon, former Congressman George Santos. How did you shift from the boring life in Congress to becoming a lifestyle icon? I follow you on Instagram. You're attending the Fashion Week. I mean, how is life in the second chapter of your life, the second chances you mentioned in your post many
You
times?
know, that is such a great question. I'll tell you what it is. It's not about pivoting. It's essentially going back to default settings. Politics was the pivot. So this was my life beforehand. I just didn't have the notoriety, but Fashion Week, Victoria's Secret fashion shows, like the cultural social circuits, going to museum events. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a gay man. I mean, I'm very conservative, but I like all these cultural things. So it was more like refining myself and understanding that I strayed a little too far away from where I should have always been. And it's kind of been nice to be back, quote, home. I'm enjoying it. And now I know a lot more about politics and how the government works on the inside. So it's kind of like a curse and a blessing.
And we love following you. I totally relate to your answer. When you shift away from your nature, and I love fashion, designer myself, so I just keep doing it.
Yeah, George,
Yeah, no, I got it.
we have, I guess we all have things in common. I'm from Chicago, a very liberal city, grew up in that, environment. We obviously live in Los Angeles. You're from New York, where you're conservative. So, the question I have is how does it feel actually transitioning back into that type of social network from being a very high profile, conservative congressman, who has a very, public name? Do you see any pushback against you trying to reintegrate, or are they welcoming you into this old world that you're very comfortable with?
They try. The ostracization is real. They try. The problem is I'm, too big to rig, too big to cancel. Quite literally. I just don't let it get to me. Like I show up to fashion shows, you get a lot of people doing like the hooms and ahs and all of a sudden there's like 30 photographers and I'm mogging the shit out of them. And I'm just like, sorry, you can make all your ugly faces all you want. But here I am, and I'm here to stay. And I do the pictures. I sit down. I watch a show. I critique it. I celebrate it, whatever, and I leave. And pushback's always going to be there. George, I think you and I have one thing in common. People will try to squeeze us like insects, and we always prevail. I think it's a George thing. Doesn't matter if you're Greek. Doesn't matter if you're Brazilian. What matters is that quite literally, F you to those who try to step on us because it's the resilience of just actually fighting for your space. And that's what I'm doing right now. It's not easy, but alas, I am doing it. So let's see.
Guys, and on that, I want to make a joke. Many people at the time were telling me, your George looks like George Santos. What do you think about that?
George, or there must be
Maybe they need this. Like, okay, maybe a very skinny version of me if I abuse GLP-1s. Maybe, I don't know. I gotta get there and then I'll tell you how it looks like. But I didn't even knew Europeans had humor in them. Look at Simona being funny.
well, that's why they call it a two-tier in Europe, right? You have the northern kind of weirdos, and you have southern Europeans, which are a little more cool, laid back. And
I guess.
Simona's definitely the southern.
Simona's probably that little tip of the boot of Italy, the one that kicks you in the butt.
I like that. I'm going to steal that from you. I love it. And you guys have a lot of in common. I really believe that it's more matter of personality. They try to involve in controversy, trying to paint you in a certain way. And of course, they highlight what they want to highlight to put people in trouble. I lived it in my family, and I see it with people like you. But I love when I see that this personality that it's so loud is gonna still make it through in any other possible way. And you're still very involved in politics. I mean, in the commentary, and I think you have also room for a comeback. Did you think about that at some point?
You see, I have a partner who has given me an ultimatum of if you go back into politics, we're done. And I think it's a fair assessment. We went nearly bankrupt, Simona, throughout my trials and tribulations, quite literally, in government. And for me to even think about a comeback, here's what I'll say. I just saw Jesse Jackson Jr. try a comeback and it failed, right? We all saw that in Illinois. I'm watching to see if Chris Collins has any success down in Naples because he's a former New York congressman who is also pardoned. So I want to see if he can succeed, or even Madison Cawthorn. They're both in the same race. If there's a comeback for those guys, maybe I can think about it like down the line. But right now, look, I'm about to be a parent next year. I am excited to do other things with my life. You know, explore another side of what can be my career in media, and I'm enjoying it. So right now, politics is just so toxic. That means going back to constant death threats, Capitol Police having to give me, security, having to spend money on all sorts of complex security detail operations, having to be like looking over my shoulder, which I don't do anymore. So it's really hard for me to say, yeah, let's go right back into the fight. Look, biggest regret and biggest resentment I'll hold for life is I never got to serve in Congress under President Trump. That bothers me, unfortunately. But, I guess it wasn't meant to be.
So what tell us about your time in Congress, because you mentioned about the life before, the life during Congress, and the life after, and how basically chaotic this situation was with security and death threats and all this. For anybody who's actually hoping or wanting to run for Congress, like, what's your advice to those people, especially like a young man or woman who has aspirations like you did, maybe coming from a kind of unorthodox background to jump into like conservative politics the way that you did, which many do, because the Republican Party obviously is changing daily, right? What's your advice to those people?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Here's why. Here's why I don't do it. Do you cherish privacy? Do you cherish tranquility? Do you like the ability to go have brunch with your friends and just live a normal life? All those things, if they're near and dear to you, which I didn't realize how much I appreciated that privacy until I lost all privacy. And I gotta say, for instance, there's a man down in Florida in prison because he threatened to kill me and my partner. Like, literally plotted to kill me and my partner, put up a threat of massively violent threat, and got caught, and he's sitting in prison for what? For what? So this is part of your daily life, unfortunately, because the rhetoric in politics is so torn, and people are just so badly on each other's throats that it's just like there's no room to breathe. I mean, now you have TMZ entering the arena of politics. So it's just like, why do you want to go be followed by TMZ? Don't do it. Don't do it.
Apparently, politics is more entertaining than, real entertainment. We live in LA, and we've been followed by TMZ in the past, and it was crazy. But, you mentioned Donald Trump, and I hear you. It would have been amazing for you to serve during his term. What do you think about this fight that's happening between MAGA influencers right now? I mean, they're turning against him, and they're making headlines, even abroad, saying, all these MAGA people are not happy with him.
You know what? I'm so sick and tired of the pontificating and of the grandstanding and of the demagoguing that's coming out of my fellow MAGA colleagues in the, influencing sphere. Because it's just so me, pick me, look at me, give me clicks. I need your attention because attention is money. So when you are winning, that means there's not a lot of attention to go around. And because there isn't a lot of attention to go around, that means the currency of likes go low. So what is a big way to make money? Be a contrarian. So it's just so silly.
Yeah, it's
so
really
silly.
We don't need that before the midterms, right? It's just
we're literally we're self-imploding as a party because of influencers and their need for attention and to make money. That's what's literally imploding our party right now. People who can't stand to just shut up, but they have to demagogue and have to pontificate from their platforms and create conspiracies. I mean, God forbid, I'm sorry to your audience, but like, we have influencers literally trying to place a male genitalia in the first lady of France.
Yeah,
like, obsessed with it too. Like, what the hell?
I am European. I was living and working in Brussels. liberals, and I met Macron many times, the last thing his wife is a man. I mean, like, I was like, why you're trying to push this narrative is just insane. And they look at us as insane. So what do you think about that?
But George, why do you think that's a really good point? Why do you think that all these conservative, so-called influencers are attacking one another and not the Democrats at this point? That's the weirdest part. You could get the clicks. You could go and get some money by, attacking the Democrats and what they stand for, some of their candidates that might run for president. But it seems like they're only focused on attacking one another or having conspiracy theories. Why is that?
If I knew the secret to that,
Weird.
I'd be really rich because it's just so disheartening to see.
Yeah.
Like, the currency right now seems to be in the zeitgeist seems to quite literally be misinformation. The more misinformation they put out there, I feel like the more sensational they become, and the more attention these political hopefuls gain. I mean, it's so bad. I mean, George, I could sit here and try to figure it out. I don't have the answer to that. So I'm not going to make something up to pretend like I do. It's just so sad. It's a sad state of affairs, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, and we have fighters in Congress like Anna Paulina Luna that I adore.
Love her.
We have also people that should be in Congress like yourself, or people like Matt Gaetz that I've loved to have seen as Attorney General. So why they are cutting out the star power of politics just over stupid manufactured scandal most of the times, and the real people that do anything wrong are comfortably sitting there? Why?
I'll tell you what happens. Here's something that nobody wants to talk about. It's so much easier to manufacture false statements and allegations against Matt Gaetz, who was a single man having fun. I mean, good for him. He was sampling, Mrs. Right now until he found Mrs. Right. Who cares? That is actually what guys do. And if you're upset about that, then you really are oblivious to what male nature is. That's number one. He had no sexual relationships with minors, but they manufacture that to muddy the waters against somebody who was putting up against the establishment. Now, pay attention to the people who were some of his biggest critics. Tony Gonzalez. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. It is the people who point at you the most, who have four fingers pointing back at them, who are the ones who literally are actually projecting. Because the more attention you put on someone else, the less people look at them. And that's just the reality of politics. So, for instance, Matt Gaetz, they tried like hell to make him into a pedophile. They failed, right? They succeeded in getting him out of government, which I think is a shame, to your point. They tried to make me into like a multi-billion-dollar fraudster. I had a FEC civil violation that should have been civil. They turned it into criminal because they wanted a seat. I worked really hard to flip a seat. I get it. It's politics, right? But then they try to throw me in prison for 7 years over literally an FEC accounting issue. However, look at the flip side. Sheila Scheiferless McCormick allegedly stole $5 million from FEMA in Florida, okay? Biden's DOJ gave her a sweetheart deal for 10 years to pay it back and called it an honest mistake until this DOJ looked at it and said, wait. There's no honest mistake here. This is straight up theft. And they're literally taking her to task. Guess what? Silence. The Democrats aren't running to impeach her. Republicans are now starting to look at okay, we got to expel her. I believe an expulsion resolution will go on the floor next week. I just want to see if the Democrats are going to do the same standard they used for me, because they didn't give me the innocent until proven guilty. They made me guilty from the onset. She has an entire ethics committee report, which is awful. And it's conclusive. It's not exploratory like mine was. She should be expelled. Period, point blank. That's standard is set with George Santos. So this is what they do. And trust me, now there's rumors that John Thune is going to start a slander campaign against Anna Paulina Luna. Why? Because she's holding him accountable because he won't do his job. So they're going to attack anybody who's effective so that they can keep all the Tony Gonzalez's and Sheila McCormick's protected. That's what DC is all about.
And that's the truth. You just said it as it is.
George, a lot of people ask the question, is the uniparty real? What is the answer?
Yes. Yes, 100%.
Because what you're just describing seems to be a uniparty that's co-opted the country, and that there's no real right or left. It's just, get along
There is
kind of thing.
You will find the right and left in specific votes. I go back to, if pick one, when Matt Gaetz was trying to get American troops out of Niger, for instance, right? About 70 or 80 of us voted in favor of that. And that's where you have the true populist right and left. The true actual populist right and left agree on these things. That's when you would find Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, AOC, Ilhan Omar, and then you'd find George Santos, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett. You would find a true left and right of the country right there. That is an actual true divide of parties. But then everybody who voted to keep unauthorized troops whose congressional authorities have expired for over a decade in Niger, for instance, was the uniparty, because you're just literally voting for the same bird. It's just a matter of either the left or the right wing, but it's the same damn bird. That's literally what it is in DC.
Absolutely true. And, I see now Trump replacing some people with other people, and people are pointing fingers at Pam Bondi, calling her a failure. I personally don't believe so. I think she has done her job, and we're just strategically doing nothing else. I really am only few that defends her, but I still believe there is something cooking, because I still feel that the real
defend her, Simona. Stop all your
nothing is cooking.
Look, honestly, I'm going to say this quite bluntly. I have nothing against former Attorney General Pam Bondi. I think she's a very decent human being. She was not prepared for this job. She did not understand the assignment. The American people voted for President Trump to hold people accountable, and she did not do that. So unfortunately, I think she was hindering the party. She was hindering the presidency, and she had to go. And it's nothing, no offense to her. I mean, whenever something's not working, it doesn't mean that they're not your friend. She's still on our team. She's a staunch conservative, and she's a great human being. I just don't think she understood the role of this job. And personally, I speak for myself when I say this, I think we need somebody who understands it more intricately, like a Todd Blanche, for instance. So that's
if we had Matt Gaetz right now, I mean, we had a different America. That's still my point.
I think we'd have a lot more people in orange jumpsuits than, people would expect.
True.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you really restore the one-tier justice system in America if a person like A.G. Bondi, who had the full trust of the president to go into the job that was supposed to be the most important cabinet member, in my opinion, did not fulfill her duties? So is it really too hard of a task, or is somebody like Blanche or somebody else that you recommend for AG the person to get the job done?
I think somebody like Blanche, somebody like Harmeet Dillon, somebody like Ed Martin, these are people who understand the assignment. But I'm going to go a step further, because a lot of people will push back and say, oh, Todd Blanche was the deputy and he didn't do anything. He couldn't. He's not the AG. Yeah. He's not the AG. And this is a guy who, thanks to him, we have President Trump back in the White House, because if it wasn't for his legal prowess to defending President Trump against judges like Judge Kaplan in the Southern District of New York, we might have had no way to put President Trump back in the White House. So I do believe that there's a lot of people who feel, uncomfortable. What I think the next AG needs to know is two things. Epstein is not going away, and we need to start putting people in prison. That's it. Not just random Somali fraudsters in Minnesota. Real people have to go to prison. I want to know, when is Nancy Pelosi going to be held accountable for literally insider trading her entire career in Congress? That is a crime. Chris Collins went to prison for that. When is Nancy Pelosi going to be held accountable? That's what I'm asking for.
No, it's a very good point. I mean, who do you think really needs to go down in order to make this seismic change that you're talking about? Because, yeah, of course, the FBI and Patel and Bongino, when he was there, talk about crimes down to where all this, that's fine. That's good. Fentanyl's down. That's fine. But, no one from the Russia collusion scandal has gone to prison except Trump allies. No one from the impeachment 1.0, 2.0 has gone to prison or been indicted. There's so many of these mysteries. Epstein obviously is a massive scandal. I mean, who really needs to go down in order for the American people to say you did do your job that we voted you in to go and do?
Oh, you know what? Here's a great start. Of the 52 intelligence officers from the Russia hoax, the ones that are still alive, because miraculously people are dying from that list on a yearly basis at this point. Whichever ones are still alive, I think they're all right for it. And I think Hillary Clinton is at the tip of the iceberg. If anybody is seriously thinking that this is, weaponization, no. Hillary Clinton needs to finally go to trial for her crimes, alleged crimes at least. You need to look at her for what she is. She is a dirty deviant who has been manipulating our government in various ways. I do believe she's culpable of and should be held responsible. I think there are so many other people from Alejandro Mayorkas was derelict in duty. I was in Congress. We tried to impeach him. We tried to fine him. We tried to censure him. But unfortunately, my colleagues on the right are spineless. Alejandro Mayorkas needs to be held accountable for what he did to this country. 50 million people entered this country under the Biden administration, and now they're killing our young women. It's like, it's not just Lake and Riley. Now just look at all the other women who are being murdered in broad daylight in campuses. This is all product of Alejandro Mayorkas. You understand? And I understand President Biden has presidential immunity, so I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to go there because we don't need to go there. That was Weekend at Bernie's on steroids. But I want to know who ran the auto pen. I want to prosecute the auto pen person. I want to go after, people who actually committed crimes. You have an entire intelligence community who literally lied to the American people, calling the Hunter Biden laptop a hoax when Bob Costello had the actual laptop in hand in my district, in the 3rd District of New York at the time. So these are not novelties. It's not hard. You have a very robust roster of people. I think the fact that we're not after any of them is just a letdown. We can go and indict James Comey all we want for writing stupid stuff on the beach. I think that was absolutely in bad tone for him, but I don't think that's what we're after. We should be after is the Tish James of the world, who's literally getting a pass for the same behavior she accused Trump of. I thought the buck stopped with the person's name on the top of the paper. What happened, Tish?
They do master projections and double standards. So
and you know what? Another one that needs to go is Tampon Tim. When is he going to face justice for all the fraud in Minnesota? Buck stops with you, buddy. Timmy boy, it's time to. I want to see Tim in an orange jumpsuit. I really do. I went to prison for a lot freaking less, and something that should have never even been a prison sentence, let alone an indictment. It should have been civil. It was a civil offense, and I'm not saying I'm innocent. I'm just saying it was a civil offense. They turned it into 7 years of prison time for me in federal prison. This is what they wanted, but now all of a sudden you can't touch these guys. Come on.
I hear you, and it's a frustration of everyone who feels that I can be next. Everybody can be targeted, and people should understand that having a justice system that works like that, it's not working for anyone in the end, unless protected Democrats in the grace of the most corrupted people. But do you think the Republican Party and this administration can survive at the end? This is my last question, and I'll take your time. If they don't held accountable all these people that have done so wrong in so many directions, what is the future looking like in 2028 if we don't achieve these results?
Democrats win the White House, and all of us can start praying to God we don't get indicted and go to prison, because they're going to come after us. Every last one of us. No way they're not. I mean, hey, some of us are dual citizens and we get to run. Self, George, a lot of us, but not all of us. So make sure your countries have no citizens extradition laws, because the Democrats are going to come for us, baby. It's nuts.
We can go together.
Well, Greece, Italy, and Brazil are quite beautiful.
Bye.
a little samba.
It's crazy. I know that it's insane that we're talking about this. This is supposed to be the last stop for freedom, but when the last stop for freedom gets weaponized, and I've seen it weaponized, I don't want to do 2.0 weaponization of the U.S. government. I really don't.
George, you have an inspiring story. You're a fighter, and people are expecting a big comeback and great things from you. And we really appreciate you joining the show. Where can our viewers follow you and to keep updated with what's coming next for George Santos?
Yeah, you can follow me in everything online at just George Santos, Instagram, Twitter. I'm sorry, X. God, the man spent billions of dollars buying it, and I still call it Twitter. Sorry, Elon. But you can follow me there. And you can also follow, like, and subscribe, not just these guys, but also, like, from George and Simona, thank you for having me, but follow me on YouTube and Rumble, where I also host my podcast. Every week we have 2 episodes drop. It's called Doing Time with George Santos. And I want to invite both of you to come on too, so we can have a very, very candid conversation.
We'd love to.
We'd love to,
Thank
George.
you. And
Thank
keep
you.
up with the great fashion shows. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.